Welcome 7th grade. Today we go into three-dimensional figures. Now, I've noted that a lot of us have had a little bit of trouble with those compound figures. Many of you are getting better at them. It is something we usually take a little more time on when we have physical class time. Now that we're all digital, we're not able to have that, but it's one of the things that I've marked down as putting more focus on once we return to school. All right. So, today we have figures that we're going to identify. Four sides that are all congruent. Hopefully we know that that is a rhombus. It never said anything about 490, so it could be a square, but we're not sure. Six sides, that would be a hexagon. Four sides with parallel opposite sides. All right, we have a parallelogram. Could be a rectangle, but we don't know about the angles, so we're not sure. Four right angles and four congruent sides, there's your square. All right, problem of the day, well done. Learn to identify various three-dimensional figures. Just identifying them today. Face, edge, polyhedron, vertex, base, prism, pyramid, cylinder, cone, and sphere. Lots of things on the docket. Three-dimensional figures have three dimensions, length, width, and height. A flat surface of a three-dimensional figure is called a face. An edge is where two faces meet. So if we're looking at our three-dimensional figure here, we have a face, we have a face, we have an edge where those two faces meet. Or we have a face, we have a face, we have an edge where those two faces meet. This gets a little more difficult because we are in two dimensions with video and we're trying to show three dimensions. All right? A polyhedron is a three-dimensional figure whose faces are all polygons. This is a polyhedron. This is a polyhedron. This is a polyhedron, as is, that wouldn't work, as is this shape. Something like this would not be because we don't have polygons for all the edges. A vertex of a polyhedron is a point where three or more edges meet. The face that is used to name a polyhedron is the base. So, one face, two faces, three faces meet at that point. All right, that is called a vertex. A prism has two bases and a pyramid has one. Pyramid, one base. Prism. We have two squares that are exactly the same and they're connected by many faces. That would be the two bases for the prism. Prisms, you get an idea. They don't only have to be rectangular prisms. We can have them with the six sides here, have hexagons on each end. We can have pyramids that have a square base or a triangular base, and then they come together in other ways. There are actually many more base types that pyramids can have, but they're just not very common, so we don't talk about them extensively. One like this pentagonal pyramid. 5 triangles, 1 pentagon base. Identify the bases and the faces of the figure, then name the figure. So some of these are hard to see, but I see a base that is a hexagon, and I see a base that is a hexagon. Two that are exactly the same, connected by a bunch of different figures. So those two hexagons would be the bases. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those 8 rectangles, I guess this is an octagon, I didn't look very close, all right, would be the faces. They're going to show you. There are 2 octagonal bases. There are 8 rectangular faces. The figure is an octagonal prism. Now with this one, it comes to a point, so we know it is not a prism, but a pyramid. We look at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's a pentagon. And 5 triangles come to a point, so a pentagonal pyramid. There are 5 triangle faces. There's 1 pentagon base. Pentagonal pyramid. With this one, it's a little bit hard to see. The base is a triangle, 1, 2, 3 edges, and there are 3 triangle faces, so it's a triangular pyramid. This one, try it out on your own. Take a pause, see if you can name the bases and the faces. Now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. That's a hexagon. I see a hexagon on the back. 2 that are exactly the same, connected by a bunch of rectangles. The hexagons are the bases. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces that are rectangles. All right? Here we have what I'll call a tent, but it's actually called a triangular prism, because if you see, we have a triangle down here, we have a triangle back there. Those are the 2 that are the same, and there's 3 rectangles that connect them, so that is the 3 faces. And we have 2 bases that are triangles, and there are 3 rectangle faces. All right, triangular prism. Here, we look. All of these look the same. When that happens, they're going to call it a rectangular prism, or since all of them are the same, they might even give it a special name since they're all congruent. A cube. And you probably knew that already. Every cube is a rectangular prism, but not every rectangular prism is a cube, if that makes sense to you guys. Now, there are other 3-dimensional figures that we'll talk about. These other figures are the cylinder you see on the left. It has a circle on each end and a smooth face that connects them, like your can of soda. We have a cone there in the middle. It has a circle on one end and goes to a point there, much like your ice cream cone. And then we have your sphere or a ball. All right. They'll give you much more specific directions on that, and you can read those here. You can use properties to classify 3-dimensional figures. Classify each figure as a polyhedron or not a polyhedron. Polyhedron means it has all polygons. So I see 5 squares or rectangles. I see 4 triangles. Every face is a polygon. So it is a polyhedron. All right. The figure is made up of a rectangular prism or pyramid and a rectangular prism. This one, not a polyhedron because we don't have a polygon for the circle or the other one. So therefore not a polyhedron. This is a cone. All right. This one, the circle, is not a polygon, so it cannot be a polyhedron. It's a cylinder. Each is a polyhedron or not. Well, I see a cylinder, so I know it's not a polyhedron. I see a cone on top of a cylinder, and let's see if that's what they tell us. That's what it looks like. And there we go, the circular base. The figure is made up of a cylinder and a cone. There is a page in your book that has all of these shapes listed with all their definitions. That may be good to help you through the homework. Classifying each figure as a polyhedron or not, then name the figure. I see triangle, triangle, and 3 rectangles. Every one of those I know is a polygon, so it is a polyhedron. Now there's triangles at the bases, and there's rectangles connecting it, so that's a triangular prism. With this one, I see 4 triangles and 1 square, so I think it is, yes, a polyhedron, and since it comes to a point, I know it is a 1 square figure and 4 triangles, so it's a pyramid, a square pyramid. I think you guys are ready to start. Please don't be afraid to use the book or call with any questions. Thank you so much. Goodbye.